All right, so we're diving into the world of automated optical inspection operators today, and we're going to help you prep for an interview for that.
And we've got a bunch of great resources from RoleCatcher that we're using today. So we've got their career guide, we've got some of their interview guides.
Yeah, and even some cool insights into how their AI can help you really stand out from the crowd.
So yeah, think of this deep dive as your personal cheat sheet for understanding what this role really involves and how to wow those interviewers.
Exactly. So first things first, right? What does an automated optical inspection operator actually do?
Well, they work with these really cool machines that use light to scan printed circuit boards or PCBs for flaws. So it's like super detailed detective work at a microscopic level.
Wow, so really important job, right? You're making sure that those electronics work the way they should.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about catching those almost invisible imperfections that can cause big problems down the line.
So you need to be someone who's got a really sharp eye for detail and who's also tech savvy, right?
Absolutely. The career guide emphasizes those skills big time. You got to be eagle-eyed A&D tech savvy for this kind of work.
Makes sense. So let's get into the interview prep. What's a question that often comes up for this kind of role?
Well, they'll probably ask you about your experience in product quality inspections, even if you haven't worked specifically with PCBs before.
Okay, so what if you've done quality control in a different industry? How do you make that relevant?
Think about any time you've had to carefully examine things for defects or deviations. Maybe you've worked in manufacturing or even had a hobby that required meticulous attention to detail, like stamp collecting or model building or something.
Right. Frame your experience in a way that highlights those transferable skills. It's not just about the specific product, it's about the process and your approach to quality control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of just listing tasks, you did really emphasize the skills you developed. Like in my previous role, I inspected X number of items a day, making sure they met strict quality standards.
Right. That shows them you can handle volume and accuracy, which are super important in this role.
Totally. And they might dig deeper with follow-up questions like, tell me about a time you had to make a tough call regarding product quality.
Okay, so have a specific example ready that demonstrates your judgment and problem-solving skills, not just a vague answer.
Right. Be prepared to walk them through your thought process and how you arrived at your decision.
Great advice. So question number two, how do you ensure that products meet the required specifications? This seems like a pretty straightforward one, right?
It might seem that way, but it's a chance to really showcase those core skills that are essential for this role, being meticulous understanding standards and spotting those tiny discrepancies that others might miss.
So what kind of answer would really impress them here?
Talk about the tools and techniques you use to guarantee accuracy. Like, I always double check measurements and tolerances. I'm proficient in using digital calipers and microscopes to verify compliance with specifications.
Okay, so you're showing them you've got the process down and you're comfortable with the technology.
Exactly. And be prepared for follow-ups. Like, can you describe a situation where you found a product that didn't meet specs? What did you do? They want to see how you handle those non-conforming products.
Which brings us to question number three. How do you handle non-conforming products? So how do you show them you can stay calm under pressure and be a problem solver?
Talk about your ability to troubleshoot, to communicate clearly with your team and supervisors, and to find solutions that minimize disruptions.
So have an example ready of a time you dealt with a defective product and walk them through the steps you took to identify the root cause and implement corrective actions.
Right. And highlight your communication skills. Explain how you kept everyone informed and involved in the process.
Okay, so you're showing them you're a team player who can handle those tricky situations effectively.
Yep. And a possible follow-up could be, have you ever disagreed with a colleague about how to classify a defect? How did you handle that?
Ooh, that's a good one. It tests your ability to navigate those interpersonal dynamics while upholding quality standards.
Exactly. Okay, moving on to question 4. How do you ensure that inspections are conducted efficiently and effectively? So this is all about time management and organization, right?
Absolutely. It's about being able to prioritize tasks, leverage tools to streamline your workflow, and maintain a well-organized workspace.
Think about things like time blocking, using checklists, creating a system for tracking your progress, those kinds of things.
Instead of just saying, I'm organized, give them a concrete example, like, to ensure efficiency, I prioritize inspections based on deadlines and product criticality. I also use a digital checklist to make sure I cover all the inspection points and avoid errors.
That's a much stronger answer. It shows them you have a proactive approach to efficiency.
And what kind of follow-up question might they ask?
They might say something like, how do you handle unexpected interruptions or changes in priorities? They want to know you can adapt and stay focused even when things get crazy.
So being able to think on your feet and adjust your plan is key.
Totally. All right, so question 5 is all about storytelling. Can you describe a time when you identified a non-conforming product and worked with stakeholders to address the issue?
This is your chance to really shine with a compelling anecdote.
Pick a story that highlights not just your ability to spot defects, but also your communication teamwork and problem-solving skills.
Right. It's not just about the problem itself. It's about how you handled it, what you learned from it, and how you worked with others to find a solution.
Exactly. So structure your story clearly, set the scene, describe the problem, outline the steps you took, emphasize the collaboration with others, and highlight the positive outcome.
And be prepared for those deeper follow-up questions that explore your thought process and how you overcame challenges.
Right. They might ask, what were the biggest obstacles you faced in that situation? How did you overcome them?
So choose a story that showcases your strengths and your ability to learn and grow from your experiences.
Now let's move on to question 6, which focuses on compliance. How do you ensure that products are inspected in compliance with regulatory requirements?
This is where your knowledge of industry standards and procedures really comes into play.
It's not enough to just say you're aware of the regulations you need to show them. You understand how they apply to your work. You can interpret them, and you're committed to staying up to date on any changes.
So how can you demonstrate that kind of deep understanding?
Give them specifics. Talk about the specific standards you're familiar with and how you use them in your work. Like, I'm familiar with IPCA 610 standards for PCB inspection, and I refer to them regularly during my inspections.
Okay, and mention any efforts you made to stay informed about new regulations or best practices.
Right, like attending industry webinars or workshops.
That shows you're not just following the rules, but you're actively engaged in maintaining those high standards.
Exactly. A possible follow-up question might be, can you describe a situation where you had to apply a specific regulatory requirement to a challenging inspection?
Okay, so be ready to connect your knowledge to real-world scenarios. Now, question 7 gets a bit more technical. Can you describe your experience in using statistical process control, SPC, to monitor product quality? Can you explain what SPC is for those who might not be familiar?
SPC is all about using data to analyze and improve processes. It's like using charts and graphs to spot patterns in the data so you can predict potential issues before they even happen and make adjustments to ensure consistent quality.
So it's about taking a data-driven approach to quality control.
Exactly. If you have experience with SPC, highlight your ability to collect and analyze data, interpret control charts, identify trends, and make recommendations for process improvements.
What if someone hasn't used SPC specifically, but has other data analysis experience?
You can still draw parallels to those experiences. Talk about your comfort with data analysis tools and your ability to identify trends and areas for improvement.
Like in my previous role, I used data analysis tools to track defect trends and identify areas for improvement. While I haven't used SPC specifically, I'm a fast learner and eager to apply those analytical skills to this role.
Exactly. Show them you're adaptable and willing to learn new skills.
And what kind of follow-up might they have on this?
They might ask about common SPC charts used in quality control and how to interpret them, or they might even give you a hypothetical scenario and ask you to analyze a control chart.
Okay, so brush up on your SPC basics and be ready to show them your data analysis chops.
All right, last but not least, question 8. How do you ensure that inspection data is accurate and reliable?
This seems to bring us back to that theme of meticulousness and attention to detail, right?
Exactly. Highlight your processes for data entry, verification, and documentation. Emphasize your commitment to accuracy and preventing errors.
So instead of just saying, I'm careful, give them a clear picture of your approach, like, to ensure data accuracy, I double-check all entries, compare my findings with established standards, and maintain detailed records of all inspections. I also regularly calibrate my inspection tools.
That's a great way to show them you have a system in place to prevent mistakes and ensure data integrity.
What kind of follow-up might they ask here?
They might ask, what steps would you take if you discovered an error in your inspection data?
Okay, so be prepared to talk about your process for correcting errors and ensuring accountability.
Now, we've covered a lot of ground with these interview questions, but there's one more key element we need to address: how RoleCatcher's AI can take your preparation to the next level.
Yeah, let's definitely dive into that after a quick break.
Sounds good. We'll be back in a flash.
Stay tuned.
So RoleCatcher's AI can really be a game changer when it comes to tailoring your resume and practicing your interview answers.
Okay, I'm really interested to hear more about this AI. How can it give someone that extra edge in their job search?
So imagine, like, you've got this virtual coach who analyzes your resume and tells you exactly how to make it stand out to recruiters specifically for the job you want. That's what RoleCatcher's AI does. It scans the job description, picks out the keywords and skills that the employer is really looking for, and then suggests ways to highlight those things in your resume.
Oh, wow. So you're not just sending out a generic resume, you're making it super targeted to that specific job.
Yeah.
I love that.
Exactly. And it's not only about keywords either. RoleCatcher's AI can help you write those really strong bullet points that showcase your achievements in a way that'll grab those recruiters' attention. It's like having a professional resume writer on your side.
That's amazing. But what about the interview itself? Can their AI help with that too?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher has a huge library of practice interview questions, and they're specific to the Automated Optical Inspection Operator role. But here's the really cool part. Their AI can actually analyze your responses and tell you what you could improve on, and even give you suggestions for how to structure your answers better. It's like having a mock interview with an expert who knows exactly what this employer is looking for.
So it's not just generic advice, it's personalized feedback tailored to that specific job. That's incredible.
You've got it. And it's especially helpful for those tricky behavioral questions, like, tell me about a time you failed. RoleCatcher's AI can help you pick the right story to tell and structure it in a way that emphasizes your learning and growth, and it helps you deliver it with confidence.
Okay, that definitely takes some of the pressure off. But even with all this preparation, interviews can still be nerve-wracking. Any tips for staying calm before the big day?
I'd say just remember that the interviewer wants to see your genuine enthusiasm for the role. So take a deep breath, try to relax, let your personality shine through. And most importantly, remember that every interview is a learning experience. Even if you don't get this particular job, you can use the feedback to do even better next time.
That's great advice. Okay, before we move on, let's go back to the career guide for a moment.
Yeah.
What did it say about career progression for an automated optical inspection operator?
One thing that stood out was the importance of getting really good at troubleshooting those false positives that the machines sometimes flag. It's a skill that can really set you apart and help you move up.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
Employers want someone who can think critically and not just blindly accept what the machine says.
Exactly. As you gain experience, you can move into roles with more responsibility, leading teams, overseeing operations, even developing strategies to improve efficiency and accuracy.
So there's a definite path for growth and development in this field. That's encouraging.
For sure. And don't underestimate the importance of continuous learning. The world of electronics is always changing, so you need to keep up with the latest trends and technologies.
That brings up an interesting point. The career guide mentioned that the industry is moving toward even more automation. So how do you think that will change the role of an automated optical inspection operator in the future?
That's a great question. It's tough to predict exactly what will happen, but it seems likely that the role will require even more advanced technical skills and an understanding of how to work alongside robots and AI systems. The need for quality control in electronics isn't going away, but the way we do it will probably change.
So people entering this field need to be adaptable and ready to learn new things throughout their careers.
Absolutely. Adaptability and a willingness to learn are going to be essential skills for success in the future.
This deep dive has been so insightful. We've covered so much ground, the technical side of the role, the interview process, career development, and even the future of the industry.
And we talked about the incredible resources that RoleCatcher offers. Their AI-powered tools can really give you a boost in your job search.
For sure. But before we wrap things up, I have one final thought for our listener. The career guide mentioned networking. How important is that in this field?
Networking is super valuable. Attending industry events, connecting with other professionals online, even reaching out to people you admire for informational interviews can give you amazing insights and open up new doors.
So it's not just about what you know, it's also about who you know.
Well, it's both. Building relationships with people in your field can give you different perspectives, keep you updated on trends, and maybe even lead to job opportunities you wouldn't found otherwise.
It's about broadening your horizons and building your professional community.
Exactly. You never know where those connections might lead. You might discover a new area within your field that you're really passionate about, or even a whole different career path that you hadn't considered before.
This has been a real eye-opener. We've covered everything from the technical aspects to the interview process to career development and networking.
And we've seen how RoleCatcher can help you along the way.
Okay, so to our listener, we want to say, best of luck with your interview. You've got this.
And don't forget to check out RoleCatcher's resources. They can really make a difference in your job search.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really seems like the future of quality control is going to be this fascinating mix of human expertise and all this amazing tech.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be getting into this field, for sure.
Definitely. And it sounds like being adaptable and open to those changes is going to be key for success.
Absolutely. That ability to learn new things and apply them quickly is going to be super valuable.
So even though we can't predict the future exactly, we can definitely prepare for it by staying curious and open to those new possibilities.
And by using tools like RoleCatcher that are designed to help us navigate all those changes and really thrive in the job market.
So well said. This deep dive has been incredible. We've really explored all the ins and outs of being an automated optical inspection operator. We tackled those tough interview questions, and we even got to think about the future of the industry.
It's been a pleasure sharing all these insights with you.
You've been an amazing guide, and I know our listener is walking away feeling empowered and ready to ace that interview.
And hopefully they're inspired to embrace those challenges and opportunities in this field.
So to our listener, we wish you the best of luck on your interview. You got this.
And don't forget to check out RoleCatcher's resources. They can really make a difference in your job search.
That's right. Until next time, keep diving deep and never stop learning.